So I just wanted to make a quick video on this right here. This is why I switched to Linux. I use Linux for almost everything now. I only keep my Windows computer for a few programs that I have that I can't find an equivalent on Linux yet. But Windows, Microsoft has become fucking totalitarian assholes. This is monopoly behavior right here, where they can just hijack your computer anytime they want to install updates that you don't want. You are not allowed to turn off updates anymore. You get them whether you want them or not. And you should, the privacy policy is basically that they can just take everything, every bit of information on your computer and just send it back to their mothership and keep it in their little database and do whatever the fuck they want with it. That's Microsoft now. That's what you're working under on Microsoft. If you have a business and you store your business information in your computer, they can just take it anytime they want. They can do whatever they want with it. They could sell it to your competitors. They can give it to the government. They can do whatever they fucking want with your information. But this updates thing, here it is. It's been about 20 minutes already. I'm in the middle of working on something, and here it just says, okay, time for updates. We're just going to fucking ruin your workday. Just waste your fucking time. We're just going to waste your time because that's our prerogative. We're Microsoft, and you don't have a choice. We're just going to waste your time. So who knows how long this is going to take? This might take hours of sitting here waiting for these updates to get done. And this has happened to me multiple times where I'm working on an important project under deadline and my computer just shuts off. And even if you postpone it, that doesn't even work half the time. Even if you try to opt out of updates, I've tried to do these tricks supposedly you can do to opt out of updates. It just resets everything and then just still updates anyway. You don't get any choice anymore with Microsoft. Your information belongs to them, your computer belongs to them, your time belongs to them. And this is beyond the pale. This is absolutely infuriating. This is offensive. And this is wrong. And this is why I abandoned Microsoft for almost everything that I do. I barely use Windows anymore. I use Linux Fedora. That's the version that I prefer. But I have all the Linux versions because sometimes there's other programs that only run like on Ubuntu or Mint. But Fedora is the one that I prefer to use. And they're free. Linux is free. It's so much faster than Windows. Windows is bloatware, folks. Windows is just fucked up bloatware. It slows down your machine. This is a fast machine. It's a quad-core processor. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM. And it's a fast machine, but Windows 10 makes it feel like, it's an old fucking 386 or something. I mean, it's just slow as fuck. It just drags and drags and drags because Windows is bloatware and because Microsoft is using your computer to do their own shit. Like if you look in the I think it's in the updates and privacy section. There's a little section that tells you that they are using your computer. You have to uncheck it to get it to stop, but they are using your computer and your bandwidth to store information and send information to other users of Windows. So instead of using their own servers to send updates, they're using your computer to store information and send updates using your bandwidth that you pay for. So not only is your computer theirs now and your time completely theirs now, your bandwidth that you pay for, your internet connection belongs to them now too, that you pay for. In your storage space, they get to store their information on your computer and they get to send updates to other people now. This is so beyond the pale. This is so beyond wrong. And the only reason that they get away with it is because they're a fucking monopoly. Or pretty much, more or less a monopoly. And I have never used Mac. I've never been a Mac user, so I don't know about Mac, but I've heard that they're pretty bad too. As far as privacy, as far as treating you like you're their property, like your computer is their property and you're their property. I've heard that they're pretty bad too. But all I know is Microsoft is so beyond wrong now. They are so over the line at this point that something's got to change. And that's why I switched to Linux Fedora. It works absolutely fantastic. My computer is zip zap fast with it. I can do almost everything I need to do with Linux Fedora. It's got tons of good programs. As far as like watching videos and doing word processing and just the basic everyday stuff you do on a computer, basic internet type stuff, Fedora works great. There is a little bit more learning as far as installing programs, but it's still pretty easy. It's still pretty easy to install new programs, and they've got tons of new programs. But the thing is that the more people that finally say, enough, Microsoft, this is too much, this is too far, the more people that finally say that and say we're not going to put up with Microsoft anymore, the more it will empower Linux, and the more Linux users and Linux programmers will start making new programs. That's what we've got to do with Linux. We've got to create a solid profit structure with them so that there's some kind of motive for Linux programmers to create new programs. If there's a support site that you can pay to use, an email site you can pay to use through Linux, do it. Just pay for it in whatever way you can, because Linux is free. But whatever way that you can find to pay for Linux, whether it's through donations of people that are updating it and making new programs and developing Linux, whatever you can find to pay for it, because Microsoft has got to go down. They have got to be taken down. This stuff is absolutely wrong. It is unjustifiable. It is frankly evil. This is frankly evil behavior. And this is what happens when a company corners the market. It's just like with Standard Oil way back when, 100 years ago or so, when they cornered the oil market through immoral, dishonest shit that they did, and frankly violent and illegal stuff that they did, like blowing up other oil refineries, and then making dirty deals with the railroads where everybody else has to pay twice as much to haul their oil, to the point that they put everybody out of business but their own company, and then they jacked up the prices 4 times and treated everybody like garbage, like we own you. And the people finally fought back and busted up Standard Oil into a whole bunch of little companies. So that's what's got to happen with Microsoft. They have absolutely gone way too far at this point. They've become an immoral, dishonest company that treats their customers like chattel, like property, like slaves. Like they can just steal your time anytime they want. They can just steal your time. They can steal your information and do whatever they want with it. And they can steal the bandwidth that you pay for. They can steal your internet connection and use it for their own stuff to deal with other customers, to save them money on bandwidth, to save them money on server space and all that. I mean, it's just disgusting. This is just disgusting behavior, and there's no reason to put up with it anymore. Linux Fedora is freaking awesome. All the Linux versions that I've tried are awesome. Ubuntu is probably the easiest one to use, I've heard. I haven't done much with Ubuntu yet, but I bought all of them. You can buy all versions on eBay in a nice package for like, I don't know what I paid, like maybe, I think it was like $8 for 5 or 6 versions of Linux, and it's already on a nice CD, a nice printed CD. And I tried all of them, and I decided Fedora seemed like it was the one for me for various reasons. But they all seemed very easy to use. They were all zip-zap quick. They all had a lot of different programs and a lot of different options. I'm very happy with Linux, and that's, like I said, that's what I use probably 95% of the time. I only use Windows when I have to use a couple of different programs that I haven't been able to find a good alternative on Linux yet. But eventually there will be a good alternative on Linux, and I'll completely get rid of Windows. I am just fed up. I am absolutely fed up with Windows. Absolutely done with Microsoft. This is just so over the top. This is just so wrong. I mean, with Windows 8, it was bad enough, like where they forced that ugly ass app screen system on you, started forcing you to sign up to Microsoft.com and join their system, forcing all these changes on you. That's another thing I hate about Microsoft and a lot of companies like that. Every time they come out with a new version, they switch everything around, they rename everything. It's just a bunch of lateral moves. Nothing's better. It's just renamed and it's put in a different place. And then you have to relearn everything. You have to relearn where everything is. You have to relearn what everything's called. It's just a huge headache, and you don't get anything better out of it. You don't get a better system out of it, a more stable system. You don't get a more intuitive system. It's not better. It's just different. And it's a way that they can look like they're improving things when they're really just rearranging the furniture. That's all they're doing. So here we are. It's, I've been making this video for, 11 minutes now, and it's only gone up 6%. This is going to be going on for an hour at least, these fucking updates. I've got deadlines to meet. I've got people to call. I've got customers that are waiting, and I can't because my computer has been hijacked by Microsoft. See, that's what I'm talking about. And likely if you're watching this video, you've experienced the same thing with Microsoft. We don't have to put up with this anymore. What I'm telling you is you do not have to put up with this anymore. You are not under Microsoft's thumb. There are alternatives. Linux has come so far since Red Hat. It is a stable, zip-zap fast, easy-to-use operating system that you can do almost everything you need to do that you would normally do on Microsoft. And you can dual boot. Like I've got a dual boot going on this machine. Most of the time I boot straight to Linux, but I still have Windows on there if I need to use Windows. So you can have both on your computer, and I challenge you to partition a section and put a Linux distribution on your machine, and just watch how much you use. Watch how much or which one you use the most. Just I challenge you to see which one you use the most. You will fall in love with Linux if you do this. You will fall in love with Linux. You will wonder what it was that kept you using Microsoft all those years and pulling your hair out and just being pissed off like I am right now when they just take over your computer, or wondering what the hell they're doing behind the scenes to steal your information or hijack your system. There is no reason to put up with this fucking criminal behavior on the part of Microsoft. There's no reason to put up with it anymore. Just vote with your machine. You still have a choice. And Linux, I'm telling you, I think Microsoft is just coasting on fumes now. People just keep using Windows because they've always used Windows, but that's about to change. Linux has improved so much. It is so easy to use. I would venture to say that almost every business out there, every small business, and probably just about every home user out there could switch to Linux and never have any problem, like anything that they need to go back to Microsoft for. And because it's so easy to have a dual boot, you can even boot Linux from a CD or from I did that first when I was trying all the different versions. I was booting Linux from the CDs that I bought, and it worked. You don't even have to install it. You can just try it by booting it straight from the CD, or you can boot it straight. You can download it to a zip drive and then boot it straight from your zip drive and run it from your zip drive. That's how lightweight the Linux kernel is compared to the Microsoft operating system. Linux is just a feather-light operating system that your computer just doesn't even know is there half the time. It's just so easy and so simple and so light, and your computer is so much faster and so much better. I don't mind making a commercial for Linux because it just astonishes me that Microsoft is still getting away with this garbage when there is such a better alternative right there, free for anybody who wants it. So I encourage you, download Linux. If you're not a geek, and don't want to learn a lot of shit, I've heard that Ubuntu is the best one for that. Mint, I've found, is the one that's most similar to classic Windows in the way that it's set up. And I've tried it, and I believe that's true. I personally like Fedora. just the way, I don't know how to describe it. I think you can update Fedora more often than the other ones. I think there's people that actually work on updates for Fedora, for one thing, but I just like the way Fedora is set up, and so that's why I picked Fedora. But I'm probably going to install the other versions too on other partitions, just because sometimes there's programs for Ubuntu or Mint or Debian that don't exist for Fedora that I want to use. So I'm just going to install all the other versions of Linux too, and then I'll probably almost never use Microsoft because, you know, for what programs don't exist for Fedora, they probably exist for Ubuntu or Mint or Debian. So if I just get all the different Linux distributions, I probably won't even need Microsoft at all anymore. I'll probably just delete it off my computer. So I encourage all of you out there to try the new Linux distributions. If you haven't really thought about Linux since Red Hat, you will be amazed at how good they are. They are so much better than Windows in so many ways, just so much better. You might want to keep a Windows version on dual boot or on a separate machine. You know, you could just buy a machine with Linux already on it, and you don't need the kind of specs you'd need for a Windows computer, because so you could buy a computer with like half the specs that you would normally get for a Windows machine. Like you could get on eBay and you could buy a laptop with 2 gigabytes of RAM and just a simple dual core processor, and with Linux Mint or Ubuntu or Fedora installed on it, and it'll probably still run even faster than a Windows 10 machine with 8 gigs of RAM and a quad core, because Linux is just so lightweight. It's not bloatware like Microsoft, and they don't steal your information like Microsoft, and they don't force this kind of shit on you like Microsoft. So that's probably the easiest thing for most people to do. Just get on eBay, find a $50 laptop with Linux already installed on it, and just see for yourself. Just keep it around, and you watch how often you're going to be using that computer compared to your Microsoft computer. You're going to prefer it so much. And if you don't want to do that, you can just buy all the distributions on CD, like right on eBay. I think it's like $8 or $10 for all of them on CD, and then you can just run them right off the CD on your computer, or you can just install them on dual boot, triple boot, quadruple boot, whatever, if you want to get all the versions, and then you can just boot straight to Linux. It boots faster, it boots easier. It's just so much easier to just start up and use Linux for almost everything. And then if you need Windows for whatever reason, you can just restart and boot your Windows for that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm going to end this video now. Just wanted to make this point about how Windows is just garbage, and Linux is phenomenally better for almost everything at this point. So